I mean, you could complain, but I would say every time I complain, ain't nobody gonna listen. Greg and I listen, but ain't nobody else gonna listen.
Hey, Jamar, he knows me. He know I would definitely listen.
Yeah, that's a true statement, man. That's not me speaking hyperbole or
Yes,
being
sir.
facetious. I just said for me, if I say I can't complain, I know ain't nobody gonna listen.
Yeah.
Greg grew up, but I'm outside of this circle, man. I don't know. It's a small circle. Brother Jerry Manuel, how you doing, sir?
I'm fine now. Thank y'all. How y'all doing today?
Doing great.
Good, doing good, doing good.
Yeah, pardon me. I'm also in the midst of my honeydew still going on.
No, we're
They
not
don't make
compete
them.
with we're not compete with
Yeah.
your wife, sir. We ain't compete with your wife. Do what you gotta do.
Hey,
It
so
ain't easy.
Uh,
hey, we know we will automatically lose.
it's
Listen,
done.
Ad, Adam threw away eternity for
Yeah. We got you, man. Hey, just you can listen, and then afterwards, it'll be espoused on YouTube. So we appreciate you jumping on, sir.
Oh no, I appreciate y'all for holding it. To be honest with you, I found out about it. I was like, "Yep, I got to get in on this."
Yeah, I sent out a
So,
reminder today just because I know it kind of slips people's minds. There ain't no real sports on right now. I think the game come on tonight, so we in between sessions, sports sessions, so we should be okay.
all right.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
I think after we meet in July, we when it get close to football time, we probably just readjust our readjust me, definitely for the ones that actually log on because we know
Yeah.
so previously when we did the last well the first ones, people had the sports in the background and all that good things. So
Mm. Yeah, let me try to do a course correction. One brother said the link's not letting him get on. Could be try to send him the link again. Well, hopefully, brothers got the. It looks like brothers got the reminder too. That's the biggest thing.
yeah.
And I almost want to put 3 p.m. PST and then 5 CST, but I think last time I did that, people got confused and didn't jump on. So it was random, but I don't know how many other ways we could plate this up.
No, no. See, I know in the academic environment, when I send out the Zoom once, because I put their name and email in it. So once
Mm-hmm.
they actually accept it, it automatically converts over to their time when they should be logging in. So they don't have to go through and trying to do all the math and trying to figure out the time zone. But
Yeah, don't get me started on academics because don't even that's a painful subject for me. Yeah, hey, you can plate it up any way you want to. These students gonna twist that stuff, man. Hey, I had one student, man, recently I had to code check her. She hit me with a, "Hey, Raul, whoa, hold on. You should hey, that's some student decorum you need to adhere to.
yeah.
I don't know where you got that from. You had the bravado to actually address me by the name my mama gave me. Hold on. What- I think we got anyway, man. It's all good. It's all good. We got him jumping in now. We got the Django, Mr. Williams jumping on. Appreciate you.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
Then it's up to you, Jay. It's your show, man. At 3, I'm literally gonna mute out. Just start letting people in. You
Yeah, it's too. We definitely start there because, as we always say, time is valuable. And that's one component you can't get back.
We got 3 minutes, so I can slow down.
Yes, sir.
Right after I'm mute out, we're already recording. We can, it's gonna be on YouTube afterwards anyway. So the brothers get on, they get on, but they'll jump on while you talking anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute out now. It's on you, bro.
Okay.
For those brothers who just let in, we'll get started here right at 3 o'clock. We appreciate y'all. Gee, I don't see a man of the cloth on here yet that I know of. So I'll just give a quick opening prayer, if you don't mind, so we can, grand is with that.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, you can go ahead and get started with that. And then we'll get
All
into
right. Brothers, let's bow our heads in the grand prayer. We do this before every meeting. Heavenly Father, Lord, this blessed speaker this evening. Father, let he say something that will touch each and every person on this call, that they may take it to their jurisdictions, that we may continuously improve as an organization, Father. And let these words reign true. In your son's precious name, we pray. Bless each and every family that is represented here. Bless the sick, shut in, and bereaved. Amen.
man. I definitely go ahead and get started again. Hello, companions. Again, welcome to episode 5. And the title of this episode is Selfless Service versus Selfish Service. I'm going to repeat that again because the word, those S's definitely sound similar. Selfless service versus selfish service. And I'm going to present this from a York Rite reflection. And once again, I am honorary past Grand High Priest Dr. Greg Pace. And this evening, I'm offering a call to action. And the reason I'm doing this is because what I want to do is help us become better today than we were yesterday. As companions and brother master masons, we may be proficient in the ritualistic work, but yet we struggle to apply the teachings of Freemasonry in our daily life. Since Freemasonry is actually designed to make good men better, we must examine how we serve. And tonight, or for some, the morning and afternoon for some too, again, we will reflect on the selfless versus the selfish service, through each degree. And as I said, this is interactive, so don't let me just talk to you. So if you do have a question, I know Dr. Raul is monitoring the chat, but by all means, chime in if you have a question, because again, this is how we all learn, by the active participation.
Hey, just real quick, brothers, what screen are you looking at? Dr. Pace's screen? Can you see his slides?
Yes.
Okay, good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Questions, put them in the chat. I got you. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, definitely thanks on that one, because again, I don't want to do me like they did you, go through the whole presentation, then find out that you're not even looking at the slides. Uh, but again, team, back on track. One of the greatest dangers in service is not neglect, but it's ego disguised as virtue. I'm gonna repeat that one more time. The greatest danger in service is not always neglect, but it's ego disguised as virtue. You know, at times an act may appear charitable on the outside, yet inward be rooted in pride, self-promotion, or the desire to be praised. You know, when service become a way to be seen, recognized, or celebrated, it begins to lose its purity. Our capitulative teachings remind us that true service must come from humility and sincerity. The work we do should not be measured by applauses, titles, or public acknowledgement, but the spirit in which it was given. You know, real service uplifts others, you know, without demanding attention in return. You know, it's quiet, faithful, and honest. True enlightenment begins when we serve not for recognition, but because duty, compassion, and integrity requires it. And I know I'm speaking to the choir, to some. I know we've been inside our chapters, our lodges, and even our workplace. You know, we have those individuals, you know, that definitely they do things to stand out for that recognition, you know, for that acknowledgement, you know. But again, it's always kind of look at, you know, what is that motive behind that? What is the motive behind them seeking that intention? But as we get through this slide presentation, we're gonna understand that there's a big difference between, again, selfish and the selfless service. You know, going into the Mark Master degree, in the Mark Master degree, we're reminded of the dignity and the value of honest labor. This degree teaches that every brother is worthy of his wages, not simple in money or material rewards, but in respect, fairness, and recognition of sincere effort. Yet this lesson also warns us that true service must be rooted in integrity. Labor performed only for applauses, praises, or personal recognition loses its higher meaning. The faithful worker does not serve to be seen. He serves because the work is honorable and necessary. You know, also in this degree, you know, we learn that sincere service reflects character. Now, I'm definitely going to repeat that one. In this degree, we learn that sincere service reflects character. Honest labor done with humility and purpose becomes a living example of duty, integrity, and brotherly responsibility. Moving to the past master degree, teaches us that leadership is grounded in accountability. And I know we always hear that word anytime we start talking about leadership. You know, we tend to associate it directly with accountability. But this is what we're really trying to focus on here. It reminds us that governance is not a privilege granted by personal importance, but a sacred responsibility entrusted to those willing to serve faithfully and wisely. This degree warns us that authority without humility eventually becomes self-serving. A leader who seeks only recognition, control, or praise loses sight of the true purpose of leadership. In Rollock Masonry, you know, leadership is measured not by power, but by the willingness to guide, protect, and uplift others. The faithful leader serves with integrity, patience, and fairness. He understands that true leadership is demonstrated through responsibility, sacrifice, and devotion to the welfare of the chapter and the companions entrusted to his care. And a lot of times, you know, you have discussion with individuals, especially when you're talking about devotion and sacrifice. Because one thing, especially as Warlock Masons, and just the Masonic family in its entirety, you know, we sacrifice time. And when I said time, I'm definitely gonna hone in on that phrase time, because as we started talking earlier, time is one component that you can't get back. Don't care how you try, but that time will not get back. So when we sacrifice that time inside the chapter, inside the local community, and mentoring a younger companion, mentoring a master mason, we hope that that time is well vested. Again, it's also part of our responsibility, especially, as leaders, within the organization, it's to stay committed to that, and definitely providing that effort. The most excellent master degree reminds us that the completion of King Solomon Temple was not simply the end of construction, but the fulfillment of duty through perseverance, dedication, and faithful labor. It teaches that great work is complete not by those who seek applause, but by those who remain committed when the work is difficult, unseen, or demanding. And I know a lot of times, when we start working, especially when we're doing work, inside the chapter, inside your local lodge, is you have some of those ones that, again, that are dedicated, that are stay to the end, not just for doing the light work, but also participating inside of the heavy work. And like I said, they're not doing it for praises or some type of award or some type of recognition. They're doing it because, again, it's that commitment, that's that selfless side of the house. Also in this degree, we learned that the work itself matters more than recognition. True service is found in completing our obligations with integrity and humility. Faithful service strengthens the craft, but it also strengthens the companions, shape him into a more dedicated servant, leader, and brother. And as you know, throughout here, I keep referencing a key word on there, but when we get to the end, we're definitely going to have a discussion about that one. The Royal Arc degree teaches that true light and divine wisdom are revealed through humility and sincere effort. It reminds us that enlightenment is not granted to those who seek recognition, but to those who faithfully labor in search of understanding. Recognition is temporary, but wisdom is eternal. Titles, honors, and applauses may fade, but the light gained through humility, service, and perseverance remains. The highest reward of this degree is not public praise, but spiritual growth, deeper understanding, and discovery of the truth that shapes how we live, lead, and serve. Now, don't laugh, Grand High Priest, because I know that guy in the middle looked kind of familiar there. Companion, selfless service is rooted in humility, compassion, and duty. It is not performed for recognition, applause, or reward, but because service itself is right, necessary, and honorable. Selfless service is often quiet. It is helping a companion in need without announcing it, strengthening the chapter without demanding credit, and giving time and effort when no one is watching. These unseen acts are often the foundation of our greatest strength. A chapter is not built only by titles and ceremony. It is strengthened by the faithful companions who serve with pure heart, steady hands, and sincere devotion. This is a challenging one, but it's definitely gonna tie into it. Knowledge without action is incomplete. I'm gonna repeat that. Knowledge without action is incomplete. Wisdom was never intended to remain confined to words, lectures, or rituals alone. The lesson we receive in Royal Arc Masonry must be demonstrated through the way we live, serve, and conduct ourselves each day. You heard me when I started. I say, as Rollock Masons, and as Master Mason, we're very, how can I say it? We're very polished in the ritualistic work, but now understanding the teachings, of Freemasonry is where we have that challenge. Again, this is where when I talk about that call to action, this is where I want us to at least go back, read through those lectures, read through those lessons and teachings, within those specific degrees, pull out the key things, that actually is going to help us become better individuals. That's the key here. But like I said, another one, action without virtue is misguided. Good work performed without integrity, humility, or sincerity lose their true purpose. Service must be guided by moral principles and genuine desire to uplift others. Selfless service, let me repeat that again, selfless service transforms learning into living. Rollock Masonry teaches us not only through instructions, but through examples. The true measure of enlightenment is seen in how faithfully we apply what we have learned in the service to others. And again, that's why I say, we can practice and we can open up a chapter and all that, and all those good things very, very well. But how do we go by now applying those applications, those lessons within those degrees into our daily lives? I labeled this one, the sacrifice of service. Selfless service often requires sacrifice. It may demand our time, our comfort, our energy, and sometimes even our recognition. I'm not going to mention that money part because we all know we buy those tickets, we pay dues and all that. So that part I left out. True service is not always convenient, nor is it always visible to others. Yet it remains one of the highest expression of duty and brotherly love. Sacrifice strengthens character because it teaches humility, it teaches patience, and it teaches discipline. When we're willing to place the needs of others above our own desires for praises or comfort, we grow into stronger companions and better men. That one I'm going to repeat. Sacrifice strengthens character because it teaches humility, patience, and discipline. When we're willing to place the needs of others above our own desire for praise or comfort, we grow into stronger companions and better men. Rollock Mason reminds us that the measure of service is not found in what we gain, but what we're willing to give for the benefit of others and the good of the chapter. And wrapping this up, because this is where I definitely want to stop sharing the slides and definitely go into a discussion. One of the key reflections, that I want you to take away from this is that true enlightenment is not found in titles, honors, or recognition. It is found into how we serve. And on this picture that I'm showing inside, minus the ugly guy that's standing in the middle there, but it shows those various differences between selfish service and selfless service. So again, knowing those distinct differences is to make sure that we as leaders, don't fall into that trap, where it appears from other companions that are observing us, that, hey, Greg Pace is making a selfish call, but by me continue providing, not looking for recognition or anything, I'm doing this selfless service side of the house. Now, before we get into that discussion, one word I kept repeating almost on every slide, and that key word was humility. And the way I define humility, Humility is the quality of having the modest view of one's own importance. It involves recognizing your limitations, being open to learning, and not placing yourself above others. And again, that's the key. We throw all these words out there. You see the words inside of the rituals and everything else speaking, but not knowing the meaning of those words and what they mean to you, that could be the difference between you being a selfish leader or a selfless leader. Now, since I have been talking for about the past 17 minutes, I'm definitely going to stop sharing the slides, and we'll definitely get into some discussion.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Doctors Randall and Pace, and all the distinguished brothers on here. I know some of y'all are probably a little smoked as well, but I appreciate you being on here on a Sunday. Greg, I know you just getting home like me, so I definitely appreciate your selfless service and sacrifice to get all the way from Schaumburg, Illinois, and get home and do this. So it's greatly appreciated. Jim, Greg, I where I come from with this one, in addition to that, is, Masonic affluence versus influence. There's a difference, right? Just like what you was talking about. Affluence, just like all us distinguished leaders on here, by the blessings of whatever you have been afforded the opportunity to accomplish, right? You're gonna get affluence. You're gonna live where you live because you work hard. You're gonna ascend where you ascend, and those things are gonna come back, right? But Masonic influence, to me, goes to just what you're talking about, Greg. Did I do it to get someone to really understand what the fourth degree is about? Did I do it to really get someone to understand how to apply the pick, the axe, and the crowbar to some of the life's challenges, right? Not to be out front for somebody to say, well, James told me this. No, it's how can you apply it? You get that wisdom to them, and then they apply it in silence, and then they see it. Right. So Masonic affluence and influence is where I go with just what you were talking about in this great presentation about selflessness versus selfishness. And that's my soapbox on it. This was great. I got to get better at them daggone graphics, because I tell you, between you and Raul, y'all some monsters with those graphics, man. That made it resonate more for me.
Yeah, I figured you would get a kick out of that one where I had you standing right in the middle. I'm definitely going to send that one to you.
Yeah, he asked me before we laughed about it. We figured you like that one. I appreciate it, and I know brothers have some stuff, but I just kind of want to echo those sentiments. And we talk about the fourth degree. I always think about that because we overlook that degree so much. And then we forget that on the 6 hour to 6 day of the week, we earned our wages. But did you really earn your wages? You have to earn your wages by being selfless. And in order to be part of the team, you have to really understand what the acronym team means. It's together, everyone achieves more. But again, we always say that the E comes before M, everybody before me. As a leader, you have to constantly remember that. And it goes right back to what Greg was saying with the humility thing in every slide. If you notice the rhythm, the rhythm was humility. The theme was humility. Just food for thought, brothers. Just open dialogue at this point. I just wanted to share that. I really had to share that.
Good afternoon.
Good
Good afternoon, bro.
Yes, sir. Companions, great presentation. I caught a little bit after the Mark Masters presentation, so greetings from the most excellent Adolphus P. Hall Grand Chapter, most worshipful Grand Lodge District of Columbia. My name is Nathaniel Stewart, excellent High Priest, Mount Vernon Chapter number 1. And I just want to put my little spin on the fourth degree after completing that degree this year. How important of leaving your mark. receiving the mark, choosing the mark, but leaving your mark also, and wherever you go. So that's all I have to add. But great presentation, and I hope to fellowship with y'all companions soon. Thank you.
So Nate, do you think leaving the mark leans more toward selflessness or selfishness?
Good question. It depends on what you lead with your ego. If you're leading with your passion and your willingness and thrive and willingness to serve, then it's selflessness. But if you a lot of people say, if you're chasing collars and aprons, then it's definitely selfish.
Yeah, but is it your mark or is it somebody else's marks? And then that's
My
when you get
mark.
into okay.
My mark.
So he said, yeah.
Absolutely. My mark. So my passion in every house, I feel as though I am selfless because I'm there to serve. So yes, sir.
And just to tag in on that last slide where I had the two different columns, I had the selfless service column and I had the selfless service column. And when you're talking about leaving your mark, one of the key things that I took from your conversation was you leaving your mark, and the lasting impact going to be on there is where it actually seeks to uplift others. Leaving, and when I say leaving mark, I'm leaving something so you can take something away from it. You can, as we said in the military, you can put some of your little kit bag, that Greg provided and left for you.
Amen.
Appreciate the input. I think just different note real quick. The brothers that having trouble with the link, I'm not sure why, because it's on the flyer and in the email, but it'll be on YouTube. So let your companions know that afterwards it'll definitely be on YouTube as well.
Hey,
I want
companion. This is
yeah,
um
bro.
companion Kimbrough. Good afternoon, everybody on this Sunday afternoon. Um, I wanted to just kind of piggyback as well on companion, or I'm sorry, Islam High Priest Stewart out of DC. I think, I remember when I was I became a member of the Red House, and there was this old past master who said, when we talk about the mark, he said, no matter what we do, we always leave a mark, right? In all of our actions, that's why we have to always be that companion, right? Because whether it be selfishness or selflessness, people are going to remember you by that mark. And I always, and I apologize, I missed the first part. I was having problems getting on. I think the link, once I went into Zoom and put the number in, I was able to get on. But um, so I'm looking forward to seeing the presentation. But that was always something that stuck with me in these degrees in our Royal Arch Masonry. Of no matter what we do, every time we enter a room and we leave a room, we leave a mark. And I've always took pride in making sure I remember that. So when I enter a room, I want to leave a mark of selflessness, right, and helpful and helping others. And I've been in masonry a while, man. I've stopped chasing aprons and collars, and I like to go home and eat dinner, but I do it. I do it because I'm a mason. I'm a man and a mason, and it incorporates all of them, right? I'm a member of every house, but I just I love Royal Arch Masonry. It is something different there. I wish I had joined the Red House prior to getting into the other houses, based on my experience here. And I thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the time. I won't keep you any more longer.
Definitely thanks for those comments and definitely for that input, because all input is valuable. Once again, you say you always try to leave your mark. You just left your mark then, because there's something there I took gleaned from that, that resonated with me, and that I'll definitely take and again continue to help make myself a better person.
Brothers, this open dialogue. Feel free to unmute yourself and just ask Dr. Pace any question that you have or any comment that you want to give.
No doubt. I'm curious, my brothers. Y'all know we don't stay long with what we got. Jamar,
Nah,
you on?
Yeah,
really,
sir. So,
the chat
so
was jumping.
I do have a few questions, and hopefully I don't sound. So, how do we combat the selflessness versus the selfishness? I mean, obviously, you can kind of see things, and you can see people, and say prime example, you got the three doctors on the leadership panel right now, and you have those that will only gravitate towards those people and show their best in front of those people because obviously they're trying to gain something. But the other part I want to ask is, okay, say I am trying to leave a mark. Why does somebody that mentor me get more credit for leaving the mark than me as the individual, even though I'm leaving the mark? And I'm not being selfish selfish about it. I'm being selfless by trying to provide information that I was taught during by my mentee to individuals below me, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
definitely, definitely take a stab at the first one. Remember I said when I started off this, I say, a lot of us, man, we know that ritual inside and out, but now applying some of the teachings inside of Freemasonry, especially when you say, how, I'm paraphrasing, how do I tell that person that is being selfish, inside my first of all, one thing that I learned, definitely throughout my life in both masonry and inside of real world, man, you first of all, you never try to embarrass them in front, because you try to embarrass them in front of a crowd, you will lose. But as Masons, we learn when Greg is going in error, whisper in my ear. Let me know that I'm doing things wrong, because sometimes, and I'm gonna say this very lightly, sometimes individuals don't know that they're being selfish. But if you bring it to their attention, I said now, not inside a big crowd, because inside a big crowd, that's when they definitely gonna try to show off their authority. But again, it's just human nature, because you push me back into a corner, and now I'm automatic going to react. But identify to them. But here's another one, Jamar. If you bring it to their attention, and the activity is still occurring, maybe, I know you definitely follow a lot of my writings, that's when I say it's time to redraw that circle, because again, some it will always stay in that selfish mode, but some, once it's identified, will gravitate toward the selfless side of the house.
I think in addition to that, and let me say this, Jamar, to your first question, addition by subtraction, leaders have to understand that we have to replace key words to make it make sense, from selfless to selfish, from I and me to we and us. Like if leaders start readapting those words, or changing those words from I and me to we and us, then that sets your mindset on a different plight to start to be selfless, not selfish.
Understood. Thank you, gentlemen.
And Jay, sometimes it just takes constant reinforcement. Any of us ever had a leader, or maybe we've been that leader, right? All of us are leaders. Anybody had someone you saw someone later on emulating or taking pieces of your leadership style, and trying to apply them to themselves because they say, you know what, I like what Ken did with that, so I'm gonna do that. And then you're looking at the person that you are happy that they are trying to do it. Then you realize, hey, you know what, that part of my kit bag probably wasn't right. All right. You start to relook your own leadership style and be like, oh, did I teach him that? All right. And so that's where I think some of it is sometimes because I know I don't know about y'all, but I'll own it. I've had some mentors that I thought was, doing just absolute great things. And then when I reflected on some of it later on, right, whether it be personal or professional or Masonic, I realized like, I may need to relook that one, right? Yeah, that's me. What's some of y'all thoughts on that? Anybody else had that real life situation ever happen on one side or the other?
Yeah, I did. This is Kimbrough from Kimbrough. I too. I mean, and the one thing that I just have been reminded, and I try to remember, is that we're dealing with imperfect people, right? And I remember when I joined Masonry and started seeing, the behaviors like what you're saying. A mentor of mine did share that, everybody joined for different reasons, right? And you can't assume that they have the same level of not that they're bad people, they're just human, but they may not have the same focus that you do. um, but the beautiful thing about it is that you have many people that you can talk to and talk with, and that does not mean you have to belittle another brother or companion. It just means that that may not be a good fit for you in your walk in masonry. And so I just, that's one of the things that's just with me. But I too share. I've had disappointment as well, encouragement in this walk as we travel. But I often reflect where it started, right? Subdue my passions, right, and improve myself in masonry, including Royal Arch Masonry. But that's the only feedback I have. I know how that brother, that companion feel when you have that. But I can say no one has hindered me in the long term of any, accomplishment that I've had, even though I've experienced some of the challenges. But again, they just wasn't a good fit, or maybe just for that season, right? They worked out for me.
Appreciate you, Kim, bro. And as always, man, your humility. We've had plenty of conversations. Your humility always keeps me grounded. Even when I was going through my storms, that we would talk, and you would always
Mm-hmm.
keep me grounded. Talking about leaving a mark. You've always left a mark on me just from all of our conversations.
A pleasure.
No doubt. No doubt. What else we got, gentlemen? I appreciate y'all coming on. Anybody ever reflect and realize that the rejection was protection in the long run?
I like that. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah. The wife had to remind me recently.
You wanted to be so in, had to be so in. Then you didn't make it past that veil. You didn't get the words right, and only to only to realize that rejection was
Mm-hmm.
divine protection. Right?
Yep, wasn't meant for you. It was not meant for you. I know we got about 20 brothers on here, so brothers, feel free to anything that this is a part where we give you guys open forum to discuss things, and then we put this on YouTube so everybody can see it. I think we're averaging about 500 views on YouTube, so people are watching it. So we want to get your voice out there. So ask questions, give comments, feel free.
We think everyone is a leader, formal or informal. So
Absolutely.
but that's why we do this. It's for all of us to share insights.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I see some stuff in the chat. I've been responding to some stuff in the chat. Um, how do we look it up on YouTube? Go ahead, bro. Mr. Robbins.
Well, good afternoon. Ken Robbins. I'm the scribe at Maxwell Chapter 115 out of Crestview, Florida. Of course, we are under the Excellent Union Grand Chapter, where our Grand High Priest is Mr. Peter Bruton. And getting on and understanding and getting some insight was phenomenal. But one of the things that I'm going to do it just a little bit different as to where I looked at it as both ways. I'm selfish as to where I see other companions and leaders that are doing it right. So I want to grab what they're doing and apply it to me. Therefore, it teaches me how to be selfless in helping other people do things. Because when I first, joined Masons back in the early '80s, there, it was because it's something that I wanted to do. And as I walked through the degrees and then got into Royal Arch, then it became more and more apparent to me that if I take these teachings and apply it to myself, that I'm not in it for me anymore. That selflessness of me now became selfless because I want to instill what I've came across and what has been enlightened to me and share it with other folks. So by doing this and looking at and I appreciate you doctors for putting this on. I kind of came in a little late, but I still got the gist of it, and it really does promote that. As for, yeah, I may start it off, but it's not, I'm not being selfish in a negative way. I'm being selfish because I want to take the good, apply it to me, then I can better exemplify what it's supposed to mean to someone else. So that's my take on it.
And I hope all y'all know that it's probably just our Zooms from work show up like that. Y'all know ain't none of us wrapped around the axle on that. We want everybody I'm sure all of us know an intelligent fool or two, right? So there's a couple of folks out there with them letters in front of their name. You be like, wow. Right. So, but thanks, big kid. It's always good to hear from my home state. I hope it's good down there in the Sunshine
Yeah,
State.
man, I'm gonna tell you. You see the sky. I'm outside, with a stick, but yet and still, though, it's great down here. But man, getting on and getting the understanding and the teachings that you all have, trust me, it is leaps and bounds of just picking up some literature and reading it, but yet and still having someone else present it to you, and then get those aha moments. That's the most impactful, and I appreciate you all for that.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Greg and Raul, they saw the vision and they took it. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, mostly Greg. He a slave driver in the background. Y'all don't know, man. He be beating me up.
But anybody have any veil moments? Like who do y'all feel like sometimes when you trying to help the young companions out or get yourself through something in the chapters or something like that? Anybody feel more like Moses, trying to get through there and you like, man, I don't know if I can do it. And then you get that divine inspiration that says, I didn't ask you whether you stuttered or not. I sent you to do so. Right? Or maybe the second veil. Right? You're trying to get through there or get someone through that part of their life and said, if you still doubting after I done brought you this far, right? Throw that rod. Put your hand out there. See this. I can overcome anything from sickness, right? That's what we learning in these going through these and the life's lessons. At least that's how I try to do it. I'm big on understanding storylines. So as Greg so eloquently put it, it's how do we help a young companion out when we used to be that young companion? All right. How do we get or some of them that's right on the same level with us? How do we get through some of the challenges that's out there? You know, so that's where I go with it sometimes. Been feeling like I've been stuck in the first veil here the last few days.
And we got some brothers on here. I think from the last session, Grant, brother Madden, he made a good point. I think last time we talked about organizational behavior management, he talked about in his lives he assigns a past master to a younger brother. Even in
Nice.
rural arts masonry, that may be a concept for all the leaders on this call to adapt. Right, assign a seasoned brother to a
Hmm.
younger brother, and they can actually swap ideas and teach each other things. Right, the younger brothers can teach them a lot about technology and other things that's going on right now. These brothers are super smart. And the older brother, man, you can't teach experience, so he can give that younger brother a lot of experience that he wouldn't be able to gain otherwise. So there's some value in that, man.
I had Dr. Rand, I had a humbling experience in the chapter when um, during COVID, we had some companions that were just kind of obligated virtually, kind of during that whole time. And then when we got a chance to actually go into the chapter again, I realized, man, I had a room full of companions who had never seen the chapter before, right? So it required. I mean, I had a couple of past high priests, some seniors, but it required training. And I'll admit, I got a little frustrated because they didn't. Outside of reading it, they had never gone through the veil. Outside of they didn't know how to approach the altar and things of that nature. And so I literally spent months trying to teach them, you know, and eventually they got it right because I was able to step back and step out. But I remember there was one point where I think I was getting frustrated. I didn't necessarily communicate it. However, I looked out and I saw that they were craving. I mean, they were seeking. They were trying to learn it, right? And at the time, it was me and a couple other people who were willing to take the time that we needed to do to learn, right? It wasn't just going to a meeting and going home. Plus, my chapter was an hour away, so
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't. Yeah. So when you get there, and eventually, uh, yeah, eventually you had to kind of give up yourself to make sure that one, the chapter would survive, but two, that they would learn it, right? Because I wanted them to get the same lessons I learned in that from people who taught me as well, um, and mentor and still mentor, right? You know, um, but I don't know. As you guys were talking, that I just kind of remembered that I didn't think about it really at the time. I just knew I needed to get them trained up, um, so that we can have a real meeting and they can get the fullness of a Royal Arch meeting. But a leader, we have to look beyond ourselves and lead, right? And that requires sometimes the frustration. And I'm not perfect. Please don't think I'm saying that. I got people that remind me and sit me down and keep me straight as well. And that what I can appreciate. But I think especially in the Royal Arch, um, it has provided an opportunity for me to not only accountability, but the option to practice it, right? Um, it's different than being in a lodge, right? It's different. And in the Blue House, I should say, it's different, but it's a wonderful difference. So, I don't know if anybody out there can be encouraged, because it can be frustrating, especially when companions, they also can get caught up in learning, proficiency in the Blue House, and um, and not give the attention and learn the lessons from Red House. But I think when you really fully take the time to learn it as well as get the mentorship, that's where you get the fullness of being a Holy Royal Arch Mason.
But it helps you. It helps you in your symbolic lives more than people would care to even give it credit for. Let's just say that. But you and I talked during those times when it was rough for you, and we had plenty of conversations about that and opportunities to train and understand, and you got through it. And I was glad that you guys did.
Yeah, yeah, it's still going. Even when I had to go to Atlanta to care for my mother for a year, the chapter is still flowing, right? Still
Mm-hmm.
bringing in new companions, and that's the part there that I was just happy to hear.
Yeah, that was
You
a
know,
manifestation.
Reverend Kimmer, and I promise this is the last time I get on. I really would love to hear from some more. Now I see Dale's on here as well. What's going on, Dale? But Dr. Kimmer, what you made me think about with your comments was Ezra, right? How we learn from a flawed man,
Yeah.
right? All of us are descendants of Solomon, right? And when we
Hmm.
look at Ezra then and compare some of the thoughts that Ezra had to what's going on in the world today,
Yeah.
right? Ezra was a person. If you have, and again, some may read it. I like reading. So when I
Hmm.
read about Ezra, Ezra was the type of leader that he is known for a lot of great things, right? Making sure that Judaism and certain parts of rebuilding the temple came back after the second fall and all of
Yep.
those great. But he also was so overzealous that he did not believe in what they did not call then biracial marriage.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't believe in it, right? Was an extremist about it to the point to where he would, even when he wound up doing it himself, it was about, I think, and you theologians, I mean, no disrespect, I'm paraphrasing, but I
Hmm.
think he went to the effect of even saying you needed to pluck out your hairs or your eyebrows or something like that. If you went against the book, what was interpreted from the book of the law, right? So for all of these great things we can learn from that teaches us that we are human, and even though we are flawed, we still have good ideas and things for folks to learn. And that's what it led me to. It led me to thinking about Ezra among many, right? But definitely Ezra. So yeah.
Now yeah, I mean, in Ezra, uh, it, I'd say a lesson that I've learned just from Ezra, just from a Masonic standpoint, because I've had to study him. Um, when we do something for God, and it's not just from a personal standpoint, right? Um, be that kind of leader, right? That leader, and a lot of people don't think about it. To go before the king, he had favor, of course, but to go before the king to make a request of the king that, hey, can I go and rebuild my temple, right? And that took leadership, right? That wasn't just a request. And then so as leaders, we sometimes have to stand out there. When it comes to the chapter, especially, we have to be available to make sure that uh, those that are watching and those that are imitating, like the brother, I think he was from DC, or he was asking the question, you know, there's always someone watching how you do, right? And that's the way it was with Ezra. I mean, Ezra, it got to a point to when he opened the book, everybody stood up and you know, because they were watching Ezra. It wasn't just the law that they put the focus on, but it was because they were watching him too. In case y'all didn't know, I learned from Dr. Randall. I watch him.
Oh no, you weren't
Hey,
watching me.
hey, I watch Dr. Randall, man. He's my inspiration.
Wasn't watching me. I was watching brothers like Dr. Pace and Dr. Willis, and a lot of y'all don't even know, man, that Dr. Willis is super humble, and even my Royal Select Council is named after him, coming from overseas. So I've been watching him from a distance and learning. I think we all learn from each other too, even on this call. And that's the selfless thing. So I can speak to a lot of you. I'm recognizing the names and been around you guys for a long time. We've all learned from each other, so we have to continue that spirit just to learn from each other. So if I've done anything, it wasn't me. It was God in me. Trust me, it wasn't me. I promise you. Because there's times I had human moments and real human moments. I had to get talked off the ledge by a lot of you on this call. So and there's that. There's that piece of it. But fellas, as we wind down, we'll take a couple more. We like to keep it within an hour to get you in and get you out on your Sundays. Uh, just a couple more comments, and then Reverend Kimber, if you don't mind, to just give us a closing prayer once it's that time.
Not a
Good
problem at
evening.
all.
Go ahead, brother. Somebody's been ready to say something.
Yes. Good evening, companions. My name is Companion Nicoy Banks. I am from the most excellent Prince Hall Grand Chapter of Holy Royal Arch Masons of Louisiana, First District, Radiant Chapter number 1, where I sit as the scribe of my chapter. First of all, I want to say that I am so thankful and grateful to be on this call. This is the exact kind of manna in which I was seeking here as a Holy Royal Arch Mason. This is beautiful. I've been a Holy Royal Arch Mason now for about 3 years. And I too love to read. Dr. Sean, I share that love of reading with you, and I'm sure all the gentlemen on this call as well.
Absolutely, little
This
bro. Absolutely.
Brother Nicole, can you turn your camera on, please?
Sure. I got a little background action. I was in the middle of housework, so you gentlemen excuse me for
No,
1
don't
second,
worry,
but
brother.
I will do that. But I just did not want to miss this opportunity to be amongst you brothers. All right, I got a
Okay.
little light here. All right. So there are 2 things that I want to add to this call, to our discussion. First of all, the title was fantastic. You know, selfishness versus selflessness, and there's a little bit of selfishness in everything, in my humble opinion. It's just like it's what you do that will get it labeled selfish or selfless. I share the sentiment with the brother, the companion from Florida, when he said, um, I'll use me as an example. Selfishly, I sought um, Brother Sean and said, I want to be on this call. What is that? Where is it? Another companion of mine who is my chapter brother and lodge brother, who's on this call right now, as a matter of fact, he and I both had the exact same fervency and zeal, right? We got the information. Here we are. So selfishly, I wanted to be amongst the brothers and see what there was to see. But selflessly, I couldn't wait to go back and share what I have experienced on this call and in Alaska when I last saw Dr. Sean. Selflessly, I couldn't wait to go back home and share it with 2 other companions of mine, one of which is my high priest, Mike's the high priest, who's on the call right now, as a matter of fact, and my lodge brother, because we think and love the same or very similarly. So selfishly, I went to Alaska, but selflessly, I shared what I experienced and I'm encouraging them to save their money to go to Alaska and experience what we experienced. But here we are on this particular call. I believe that it's the power of intentions. Everybody talks about the law of attraction, but before there's the attraction, there's the intention. What were your intentions? Were your intentions to be negative, to be power, to absorb all the power, and then say, now I stand as the most powerful one? Because as we know in the 4th degree, that 6th day when you show up with your work, what does it say? The overseers, good work, true work, square word,
Good work.
pass on. It's that true part, brothers, that in my opinion, it's that true part. What was at the heart of your work? What was at the heart of your seeking? What was at the heart of your questioning? What's there? Because therein lies what really matters. And sooner or later along that journey, even if they got passed on, as we know in our story, right? You have to ante up your work. And that last person who is going to pay your wages is going to be the one to pay you or say, no, this isn't you. What is this about? So I'm gonna refrain from going any further because I'm so excited. There's so much that's going on in my head and heart right now. I'm still jotting down notes. So, but
All
I
right,
did want
brother.
to add something to this conversation.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel, brother, and we would love to have you on it. We do it every other month. We are blessed to have you and all the brothers on. So we're glad that it was impactful.
Thank you, brother,
Yeah,
and much respect, man. Thank you.
it's good to
Yes,
see
sir.
you. It's good to see you considering your schedule. I won't divorce because I know you are a man of true humbleness. It's good to see you, Companion Banks and Greg and Raul. I can tell you, and Dr. Kimbrough, every brother here. I cannot thank you enough. This was a great segue into getting ready for our session in 30 days. I cannot thank you all enough for everything y'all contributed today. With that, sir, I yield. I fall radio silent to this great learning we
Yes,
had
sir.
today. Thank you.
Yeah. And if you guys just a little preview, if you guys are coming to the session in South Carolina, Dr. Pace and I will be doing organizational behavior management. We're going to actually divide that lecture, two of us live going at it, giving our lived experiences. So it should be a time to be had to get us started to go into the session. So we're looking forward to that. We are really looking forward to that. Excited about it even. With that being said, again, we're very conscientious about time. We thank all you brothers for getting on. Dr. Kimbrough, if you can take us to the throne of grace, we would be humbled and blessed for it.
Yes, let's bow our heads. Eternal God, our Father in heaven, we come before you with a heart of thanks. Thank you for allowing us this opportunity to come together yet one more time in fellowship and friendship, and most of all in brotherly love. We ask now that you bless those, Lord, that sacrifice their time today, that we might come together to grow and learn to improve ourselves in masonry. Help us, Lord, and allow us to remember and be mindful of that, Lord, as titles that we may have, we're always a servant. Lord, we ask, Lord, that you just help us to be mindful of the work that we do. Lord, help us to remember the mark that we leave in every place that we go. And let our work, Lord, continue to be good work. Let it be true work, Lord, and let it be square work. And as we depart from this fellowship, let us always remain in your presence. Continue to strengthen us that we seek to improve ourselves to be better men, as well as better servants and better masons. It's in your name, Jesus, we pray and ask it all. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Amen.
Amen.